Hey, hey, how's it going? Happy Thursday to you. Oh man, today is April 10th, and today is a great day. Today's a special day. Today is my day to celebrate 6 years, alcohol free. Each day should be a day that we celebrate staying abstinent from the things that really mucked up our life, right? And alcohol being a number one contributor to the things in my life that made my life unmanageable. We know this, right? We know that alcohol, drugs, illegal drugs, narcotics, behaviors, patterns, bad ways, stinking thinking, these things can be very detrimental to our recovery. And I believe, in my humble Irish opinion, that everybody should be in recovery, right? We all have something that we could potentially get out of our lives, right, and become a better person as a result of it, right? So the things that we do are going to have a direct effect in our life and in our family's life. And so, hey, staying sober is going to have a great effect on you, your health, your mental health, your family, your loved ones, everything, you guys. And so if you haven't tried it, and you are somebody who partakes in alcohol, and maybe a little bit too much, this is how you start a recovery program. Is you take it one day at a time, right, my friends? You always take it one day at a time. And we always look at our recovery as something that is long term, but we don't have to sit and plan it out, months and years into the future. We take it simply one day at a time, and today will mark the day that I made it one day at a time to 6 years. And I don't know how many days that is. I think it's a couple thousand days. And so in the grand scheme of things, it's a drop in the bucket, because I plan on staying sober forever, and I do that one day at a time. So hey, I had a little bit of a ride planned today. I went and got some new spark plugs for my machine. And I got my buddy a birthday present, because his birthday is coming up in a few days. On the 15th is Joe's birthday, my very good buddy. And so we'll be celebrating his birthday coming up. And I know there's a couple other people that have birthdays this week too that are coming up tomorrow. So if I don't see a happy birthday to those that have birthdays tomorrow, I can't remember who it is, but there are a couple of people out there. But listen, you guys, this is it. This is the journey. This is what we get to do. We get to live life, and we get to learn, love, laugh, live, slips, trips, ups, downs, wins, losses, successes. And I'm just so happy and blessed to be here with you guys. There is no substitute for this. So, last night I was listening to something on the YouTubes, and it was kind of late, but I was taking notes last night, and a lot of the times when we come into our recovery program, right, we're bringing a lot of baggage with us. We're bringing a lot of stuff with us. We're bringing a lot of, we'll just call it baggage. And when we do that, along with that baggage, sometimes we carry around a little guilt, a little shame, and a little blame, right? We like to blame ourselves for some of the stuff that have happened in the past. But forgiveness and acceptance is a huge key, or part of our recovery, right? It is the key to our recovery, if you want to think of it that way. Acceptance is the key to recovery. You really have to accept that we've made a mess of things, and that our life had become unmanageable, right? But we also have to accept, that we can change, and that things can be changed because of that, as a result of our change, right? And so there's a ripple effect, a domino, if you will, a domino effect. I love that. So the one domino goes down, and then they're all going to go down, and it's all in succession, right? And so if we plan out in our mind, we come up with an idea, we formulate a plan, we put that plan into action, right? We execute it, and then we see whether that is successful or not, and then we adjust accordingly. Amen. So life is always being adjusted. So I was listening to this guy speak last night about how a lot of the times we will bring shame or blame into our recovery program, right? And that's a result of having it before, right? When we were because therapy is needed for us to survive in our body and in our mind, soul, and in this world, in society, in recovery. We need to go through some of the things that we went through, and when we do that, we release, right? We let go, we surrender, we accept, and we find a way forward without dragging these big chains with us, right? And alcoholics, and drug addicts, and people that are suffering from these types of addictions and substance abuse disorders, we're dragging so much weight with us, and so much, it can be very tiring and overwhelming at times. But if we continue the fight and stay the course, sometimes, a lot of the times, we're going to find out that it gets easier. Amen. It gets easier. It gets, the load gets a little lighter, and our chains don't seem so heavy. And as we're approaching spring now, right, we're in the time in the season for renewal. We're in the time in the season for renewal, for refreshing. We're going to get green grass soon. I already got it. Plants are going to come up, buds are going to come out, and then eventually they're going to bloom, and we're going to be presented with a whole new beauty of summer again. And then fall will come and follow that, and then we'll go through the seasons of change, right? And so be prepared for the next best thing to come in your life, and be prepared to be kind and to be generous with that kindness and do the right thing. I always talk about that. Amen. How did we get this far in our recovery? But by doing the next right thing. And when we do the next right thing, it becomes habit, right? It only becomes habit after we practice that. So we have to do these things in order for it to become a habit, just like we did in our active using days, right? We had to pick up the drink, we had to pick up the drink, we had to pick up the drink, pick up the drug, and we had to keep doing that. And as a result of that, we got ourselves into a little bit of a pickle, an addiction, a habit, and to a bad way, right? And I was thinking about it last night too, because I'm always listening to people's testimony. I love to hear people's testimony and hear where they've come from and where they're going and what helps them. And I'm always listening to people's testimonies. And for me, I had a trifecta of things in my life that was making it almost impossible to survive, right? I had an addiction to prescription pills. I ended up on heroin, and I was drinking that whole time a liter of vodka a day, and then I got really bad into methamphetamine towards the end of my using career. And a lot of my last using days it was very, very hard, you guys. I was drinking a liter of vodka a day, I was using needles for heroin, and I was also shooting methamphetamine. So I had a trifecta of things that were really looking to destroy me, and I made it out. I was strong enough. I had enough in me to survive that, and I rely on my faith, you guys. I rely on my faith, because I say I was strong enough, or I had the strength or the courage to put it down, but really I had help, because in the grand scheme, right, and us living in recovery and working a program, we wouldn't be able to get here without our faith. Because when we're leaning into things, when we were leaning into things in our using days, what were we leaning into? We were leaning into deception, manipulation, lies. We were stealing, and we just didn't really carry ourselves with a whole lot of dignity or any kind of morality. We would just kind of be loosey-goosey with that because we were using. And when we're using, we don't really have that foundation. We don't have those morals, those ethics, those kind of, and sometimes we don't even have common sense when we're using drugs or alcohol, because a lot of that goes out the window because we get so inebriated and intoxicated, our inhibitions just kind of disappear, and we just end up being the funniest, most jovial, joking person, and that's really truly not who we are, really. It's just the alcohol or the intoxication that does that to us. So when we go through into recovery, it can get boring at times, because we're like, hey, what about me? I used to be the life of the party. I used to be this. I used to be that. Well, those days are over now. Now we got to establish ourselves with a firm foundation of stability and show people that, hey, we once were this way, but now we're this way because why? Our faith. And because we work a program, because we stay abstinent from the things that made our life unmanageable, right? And there's a degree of insanity when we get to that part of our addiction, because we're really truly doing the same thing over and over every single day, and we're honestly in our own mind expecting a different result. We're thinking that we're gonna have a different result, and that can be like that in recovery too, because when you quit to try when you try to quit using drugs or alcohol, you're going to try and you might fail and you think, oh man, that was harder than I thought. I better just go back to using alcohol or drugs. But what those relapses are going to tell you and what they're going to show you, and mistakes are critical, and we'll talk about that in a second here. But those mistakes are critical because you're going to see what those things are going to show you in the long run is that we're building up a foundation, or even a relapse. I've had people come to me and tell me, my whole life is over. I relapsed. Everything has gone to crap. And I was like, no, wait, back up a minute. That relapse, if it is truly your last use, your last relapse, that's your last use, right? That you can walk away from that relapse and that can be your last use. And so that can be the last use, the icing on the cake for your foundation of your using career. And you can put that to bed and you can champion yourself as a quitter. Amen. Nobody likes a quitter, but in this way today, we can pride ourselves on quitting because we quit or stopped or discontinued the thing that was making our life miserable. It was killing us, a lot of us. Anybody who spent any kind of time in active, serious addiction, they realize that would eventually either land us in jail or dead, right? There's institutions, jails, or death. Those are the three things that we're promised by using that. And so when we rely into and onto our faith, and we have that firm foundation of something greater than us, because we got ourselves to where we are today, right? We, in our best thinking and everything that we've been blessed with in our life, we got us up to this point. And a lot of us will have the humility to say that we didn't do it on our own. We need other things, people, places, and especially a support system and a faith. And so when you build that, I get so excited to talk about this stuff, you guys. For me, it has to be this way. Life has to revolve around recovery, and it has to revolve around a one day at a time program that I truly she right? I don't think too much about tomorrow. When my wife says, hey, what do we got going on tomorrow for dinner? And now she knows better because we can plan that stuff out, but rarely does it ever, like dinners. Okay, dinners, we can plan dinners. I plan dinners and we can do that, but like bigger things, like when you start to think too much into the future and you start to plan and think about all the things and all the times that you planned something and it didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, but you had it planned to the T, and you wanted it to go this way, and you just felt like it should go this way, and everything in you is telling you it should go this way. But then when you get to that point or that thing or that event or whatever it is that you planned and it goes off totally different, you're like, oh man, I just put all that planning and all that thought and all that worry and fear that it might not go the way I want it to into that event or thing, and boom, it's not the way you thought. Recovery is so much the same way, in that we don't know what tomorrow will hold. Amen. Yesterday's history, tomorrow's a mystery. That's kind of our saying on this channel and on in my brand of recovery, because we really put an end, an exclamation point or a period or whatever on yesterday, and we move into today. And that firm foundation that we have in recovery will allow us that one day at a time strength. Because when you think about it, we only have today. Amen. It just makes so much sense. We only have today, and everybody who is healthy in their recovery and in their life and doing exercise and sleeping right and eating right, you're going to notice that the sleep that you get at night, it's a reset, and you get to reset for the next day, and you get to start it all over, my friends. You get to start fresh. So what a God-given gift is each day that we get, and we get to sit up at the edge of the bed and thank God for giving us another breath, because hey, you got another chance to do it better than yesterday, and we never know what today is gonna hold or carry for us. So we should be happy and positive to know that today could be the best day of your life. It could be the turning point for everything. You just never know what can happen. And failure, I want to touch on this before I go. I'm excited today. I'm celebrating 6 years alcohol-free today. Today is my sober bursary or sober birthday. And today means more to me than my own birthday, because this is the day I'm actually born. I was born again on this day, April 10th, 2019. I ended up in Mercy Hospital due to a alcohol-induced seizure. I was out for the count. The doctor told me, if you take another drink, you're going to die. I believed him. I never went back. I didn't feel like I wanted to tempt that sort of, proclamation, if you will, because that doctor told me if you drink again, you'll die. And I believe him. I do. I believe him wholeheartedly. So today I celebrate over 2,000 days of 1 day at a time. Now that 1 day at a time program didn't come easy, you guys. I've had to really, really, really white knuckle it at times and grin and bear it and come through on the other side, not knowing if I was going to make it or not. But when we make it, and here we are, and we stand at the turning point of yet another day, another year, another month, another week, that we can commemorate having survived this addiction so far, thus today, because we're always mindful that today is all we're given, and that 1 day at a time program for me is really, where it's at for me. So, hey, God bless you guys. Thanks for listening. I know a lot of people will probably listen to this message on the way back as a replay, and that's okay. I put these out into the world, into the universe, into the recovery, ether, if you will, or whatever. I do these messages because I feel led to. And when I feel led to do something, I try not to snuff out or snub that intuition that we get, right? So the one thing I want to talk about before I leave is failure. A lot of us don't even succeed in doing anything or something because we're so afraid to fail. What if we lived in a society, my friends, my beautiful friends, where failure was a good thing? Now, hear me out. I know you're thinking, what in the world? Failure? How could that ever be a good thing? Well, I was thinking about it last night, and while I was taking notes, listening to people talk about recovery, because I wanted to be prepared for today. I wanted to have a great day. I wanted to be backed by awesome, solid, new information that I hadn't heard before. And so I was searching hard, high and low last night for something to listen to that would inspire me. And I actually got out my notebook and I wrote a bunch of stuff down because this did inspire me. Because listen, we look at failure as a bad thing, don't we? We all do. I don't know very many people that look at failure as a good thing. This is why it's such an epiphany to me today or last night. And I'm thinking, well, this is a really good thing to talk about, because when we talk about failure and wins, a win, we all know what a win is. We all know how a win feels. We all know that a win can be great and it lifts us up. And well, I think we need to translate that a little bit to failure too, because when we look at failure, we think, oh man, failures are so bad. They bring us down. They make us look bad, but really, honestly, failure teaches us a lesson. And in those lessons, we're going to probably learn more in the lesson from a failure than we would from a win. We sit back on a win and we're like, yeah, this is great. A win, chalk it up, another win. But really, honestly, I'm thinking that failures might be more important to us in the grand scheme of thing. And now, don't get me wrong, we don't want to fail, right? Nobody wants to fail. We don't want to fail at anything, especially at our recovery. So when we think about failure, we need to look at failure as like a semi-success, okay? We need to look at failure as something that is a good thing. Because if we all looked at failure as a good thing, people would realize that we learn more in failures than we do in less in the wins. And I just really feel like we can do a 1 day at a time program looking at failure as a success, because sometimes we need to fail to succeed, right? Oh, I love that. Sometimes we need to fail to succeed. We can't succeed without a failure, right? We're going to run out of gas sometimes, you guys. We're going to run out of things, but we're not going to do that again, because we're going to prepare ourselves for what we got coming up next time. So we're not going to put our tank so low, right? We're going to keep our faith up, and we're going to keep our motivation and our eyes on the things that are giving us the foundation. Oh, I just love talking about this stuff. This is where it's at, you guys. This is our life. This is recovery. 6 years today, you guys. I made it 6 years alcohol free. And so when I was watching that live stream last night and I was learning about failure, I think that we should look at failure as a good thing sometimes. And sometimes we can learn more from some of the slips and trips and things that we do than we will the wins. And so if you're out there and you still haven't made it to that point where you're telling yourself every day to be positive, to be kind to yourself, and self-talk is critical, because when we get into recovery, all those times that we spent putting ourselves down or thinking that we were no good or we didn't have worth or we weren't loved, nobody trusted us, Now is the time to build that up, and we build that up by having faith in something greater than us, because we, as a human being, as a believer, as a spiritual person in this world, we don't know it. We don't know all the answers. It wouldn't be right if we did, right? And people who strive for that perfection, there's nothing wrong with striving for perfection. But I think that perfection is it's a fleeting thing, right? We're always going to try to be perfect, but we have to be perfect in the eyes of the Lord, right? In God's way, right? So if you're following God's will for your life, and you're seeing that there is a path forward for you on that path, right? By following God's will and asking for grace and mercy and forgiveness, because we beat ourselves up, amen? In recovery and out of recovery, we beat ourselves up. We say, I shouldn't have done that. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Why did I do that? This and that. Well, you know what? Mistakes happen, and we bury those mistakes along with that behavior so we don't have to do it again, amen? So we're going to make mistakes. But those mistakes are going to become less and less and few and far in between, because you know what? We're going to learn that there are a lot more lessons in the failures that we will get than in the wins. And I think a win is great. 6 years alcohol-free is great. 1 day, 1 hour alcohol-free is great. So we need to commemorate those times and build each other up and build ourselves up and build up that foundation, right? That firm foundation that we need, because recovery is a lot of work. It's a hard work, and it takes time, and it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of faith, right? So that faith that we're going to come into, we're going to see it in other people, and we're going to be drawn to other people, because other people are going to share that faith, and you're going to know those people that share that faith because they're going to be genuine with you. They're gonna show you the real them, and when they do that, that's an open door for you to find a friend and to add another person in your support system, because support systems are so critical. I would have not made it this far today if I not had the support system that I have and that I had. And yes, I've lost some friends in the last couple of years, and I see that as, you know what, you guys, I see that as a blessing, that God is weeding out the people in my life that He doesn't, that aren't conducive, or that aren't, maybe those people will come back, and God willing, I'll make more new friends going forward. But there are people in our lives that are hand selected to be here. Nothing is a coincidence. Nothing is happenstance. Nothing happens by chance. This is all predestined. I love to talk about that, and I love to think about life like that, because you know what? We'll never get too much than what we can handle, and I love that, because there are a lot of times where we feel overwhelmed, and a lot of times where we feel like we want to give up and go back to the old ways, the old stinking thinking, the bad ways of telling ourselves we're no good, saying we're not worthy. When we wake up, we're just constantly beating down ourselves. We're being negative. We look at the world through a lens of, me, more me now, and I suffer from that too, you guys, sometimes. But I'm always humbled. And I'm always brought back to a place of recognition, acceptance, surrender, peace, serenity, dedication, commitment, honor. All these words are front and center in my mind, because these are the things that it takes to be a successful dude in recovery, or to have a successful gal in recovery, or to have a successful brother or sister in recovery, because we all know somebody that's in recovery, if it's not yourself. And we all know how hard it can be for people in recovery to see the light at the end of the proverbial tunnel. And a lot of times that light is fleeting, and it might come and go, and it might disappear. But myself, I'm trying to be a beacon. I'm trying to be a light for people to see, to say, hey, that guy, I want to be like that guy because he's positive. And there are days when it's hard to be that beacon, and there's plenty of days that is difficult to shine that light, my friends. But every day gives me a new hope, right? Every day there's something in my day that gives me hope. And if today it's not my 6 years sober, then I don't know what it is, because that is a milestone. We commemorate that milestone, and I'm very excited to share that with you guys today. It's been a wonderful morning so far. I went and had breakfast with my daughter at her school. Some of the things you get to do as a sober dad, right? As somebody who isn't hungover or stuck in bed or whatever it is due to my alcoholism, I am very thankful. And God willing, I will never have to take a drink again. But today is the day we focus on. So today I don't plan on drinking. Today I plan on doing some other stuff. I got some spark plugs for my motorcycle. I got to put those in. And we did plan on doing a little bit of a ride today. But I did want to mention on this live stream that the weather didn't look that great. It did look like there were some storms moving in north central Wisconsin, kind of where we're going. I really don't want to get caught in the rain on a 40-degree day. So we'll see. I'll do some wrenching on my motorcycle, and we'll see what happens. This is life for me. I got to stay active, stay busy, and keep doing the things that keep me sober, that I made it 6 years, right? Because if I keep doing the things that I've been doing because they've been proved successful, then that's the plan, right? So we keep moving forward, and we allow ourselves to make some mistakes. And these things are going to happen, my friends. And when they happen, we can't beat ourselves up, because that's what we did that's what we were doing, and that's what we were running from in our using days. We were running from all that. So why would we do that to ourselves in the recovery? Amen? Oh, what a beautiful day. Beautiful day to be alive. Jeepers. I'll get you set up, and we'll get this message wrapped up. Thanks to a couple people who I saw watching. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming on and tuning in and kind of hearing my spiel, my deal today. I'm so excited. You guys, you have no idea how excited I am. I'm just, seriously, this is better than any high that I can't remember a high that was as good as this, right? I don't ever remember sitting there, putting a needle in my arm thinking, oh man, this is it. This is it, you guys. This is what we're seeking and what we're after, right? I got to put my new 6-year coin. In my pocket today. So this one's going to get a little life on it now. And also my wife got me a 6-year coin. Yeah, and that's got a cool, a little saying on the back I'll share with you. It says, like a tree, we must learn to shed our past, grow new branches, and reach for the light. It says, grow strong, stand tall, be resilient, and stay rooted. Can you believe that? So that's where it's at for me today, my friends. I got a little bit of wrenching to do on my motorcycle, and take a breath, a collective breath, and just take it all in, because today it's a good day, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful that God's put me in this position. And for those of you guys who think it's easy street all the time, it's not. It takes a lot of hard work, and every day we got to choose not to drink. Every day we got to choose not to do the things that we used to do in our life that made it miserable or unmanageable or insane, or we used to do a lot of things in our life that wouldn't be considered good or kind. I used to be really unkind to people, and I'm really thankful every day, because I just, like this morning, I'm just smiling. Like, I just smile when I'm at these events, like, Donuts with Dads. Like, I'm just smiling. I'm just sitting there smiling. Like, I can't help but be happy. This is such a weird foreign concept to me, because I ever used to be like that. I used to just go around life with a scowl, because there was nothing to be happy about. There was nothing to be thankful for or grateful for. Yeah, I had kids, and I have a family, and I have all that, but I wasn't sober then. And so I didn't appreciate the breath that I took every day. And so now today I can say that I'm honestly really thankful for that. And and all the people out there that support that, it means a lot to me, because there are people out there that have and are actively trying to take my positivity away. There are people out there that are negative and that send me bad things, and it's gotten better lately, but they're it's not always easy. It takes a lot of work, and we can do this together. So if we're banded together, and you got my shoulder, I'm up against your shoulder, and we do this together, we're a lot stronger in numbers, my friends. And it's been a good ride so far. 6 years, you guys, today. 6 years. It's over 2,000 days. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. Let me show you guys something yesterday. The other day I came home, and we were up in an attic cleaning some stuff out of an attic, and we were throwing all the stuff down a 3-story chute down, from 3 stories all the way down out the window into a dumpster. And so most of the stuff that I threw got broke, but I was able to save a couple of these boxes of these ball jars, and I know I have quite a few already, but I don't have any with cover. So I found some intact covers. And they're not very clean yet, But a lot of these, like these ones, are super old. Super, super, super old. So I'm going to try to find a home for all of those at some point and, clean them up a little bit, make sure that they're not as dirty, because I'm sure they probably smell pretty bad too. But once we get them clean and sanitized, and yeah. So if you guys know anybody that wants a ball jar, I'm going to be doing some special things with these. So yeah, so that's what I got going on in there. We got to work on the Sportster, get some spark plugs going. Yeah, we gotta get some spark plugs going. We gotta take off the air filter and get that sprayed. I got some K&N oil for that. We got this. Gotta do that. Yeah, we're planning for I'm planning for a little bit of a motorcycle ride today, but I got a little bit of a ride coming up next week. We're going on a little bit of a journey, so I had to get my motorcycle all ready for that. I already did an oil change. I gotta tighten a few things up, and honestly, I was planning on doing that this morning before we go on our other ride. But I wanted to come on and give you guys a message because I felt like doing that this morning. So thanks, guys, for listening, for being a part of my recovery. And we all know that there are reasons and reasons and ways and means that this all happens. It's not because we wanted it to happen. It's because we worked for it. And if you're in a recovery program, I want you to stay strong. Keep going forward, onward, and upward. Sometimes we'll stay stagnant a little bit. We'll spin our wheels a little bit. But what we're doing in that time is we're learning. We're not failing, okay? We're learning. Replace failure with learning. We're not failing. We're learning. We're trying to learn how to do better for the next day, right? Because today is all we got. And when we make a mistake, if we have the people that are around us to say, hey, and give you a little check, we need to surround ourselves with people like that, because those people that are willing to give you a little bit of a check are going to be very valuable for you, because we can't always perceive and see all the things that we're doing or all the things that are happening. We need supportive people in our life. Amen. A spouse, a brother, a sister, kids, mom and dad and aunts and uncles and godparents, and there should be people in your life that are positive and that are always willing to give you good, sound advice. And if you don't have that in your life, that's what we're searching for, because we need people in our life that are going to be conducive to help us in our recovery. Amen. And to keep pushing us forward, keep moving us towards the goalpost, wherever the goalpost is, and however that works in your life, right? We're on a journey. We're headed to a destination. We don't know what it is, but God's given us the gift of a one day at a time program to actually get to that destination. So take it easy. Let go and let God. Keep it simple. Take it one day at a time. And really, we've got eternity to prove to God that we're ready for all the blessings and all the lessons and all the things that we're searching for in this life. And that might look like sobriety or abstinence for you. If you've been really searching hard and seeking hard and you really have been trying to stay sober and it just hasn't been working, maybe there's just one more thing you need to do to prove to God that maybe you're worthy of that sobriety, because it's a gift, you guys. We're given this gift. This isn't something you can just go and buy or pick up somewhere. You really got to work at it. But the journey, that's the fun. That's the whole point. It's the whole deal. It's not getting to the destination, right? It's not the destination itself. It's getting there. It's the process in between. It's the roads and the hills and the ups and downs and the friends that you lose and you gain. It's the learning and the successes, right? Because we don't say failure. Get that out of our vocabulary. We're learning, okay? So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. I hope you guys all have a great, wonderful day out there. I hope you're somewhere safe. I hope you're sober. I hope you're being brave out there. And be kind and be generous with that kindness, because there are a lot of people out there that are hurting for certain, and they need a brother or sister to pick them up. or to show them the way, or to give them a good positive message, or a smile, or a hug, or handshake, however that works in your life, give it to somebody today, because they need it. We need it. I need it. You need it. We need it. I love it. God bless you guys. We'll see you on the next one, okay? Love ya.